Hello everyone, welcome. I'm back. I lost the connection for some apparent reason, so I had to reboot everything. Let me write something. Okay, I'm back. It's a pleasure to be before you. I lost the connection, so now I'm back on the air. Hopefully that will go over. Oh, let me start. I was saying that I like to use myself as an example to bring about a point, because when you use yourself as an example, no one can claim that you're talking about them because they share something with you and you're using it to glorify yourself or to make a name for yourself. So it's not about that. If I say something that touch you, or I say something that come close to what you're experiencing, it's just a coincidence. I'm just sharing what you need to know. And hopefully that you take what I'm sharing with you and apply it to your life. So I use myself as an example to bring home a point. And I was thinking about my own life experience when we say to ourselves, I will change when I see you change. But that's not good to say I will not change unless you change. We are responsible for the things that we do and say. If we refuse to consider our faults and the causes, we will not change. It's like putting a condition on someone saying, you must do what I say, behave as I want you, and then if I see you changing consistently, then I will change. That is a control thing. It is not right. We need to begin to think of different ways, the right way to handle things. When we do the right thing, regardless of pain and pleasure, yes, we do get pain and pleasure from doing the right thing, we will be free from our self-imposed enslavement. Self-imposed enslavement come with a control thing. We must be controlled. And what does self-control mean? It is the ability to control the present, emotions and desires, our wants, our needs, hatred, and anger, control over our experiences, a lack of control. Our button can be pushed under the right circumstances. We must put a restraint on the things that are controlling us. And when you put a restraint on what we are doing that's wrong, it would help us to function in society and help us when we're around our friends. And what restraint have you allowed yourself to be put on? Anger, lack of communication, hatred, I'm not going to forgive them, sexual, race, and whatever you just thought of. Those are restraint. When we put on ourselves, when we apply self-imposed restraint on ourselves, we are responsible for the things that we do. Not our friends, families, and loved ones. We are responsible for our action. We keeping ourselves in our self-imposed prison where we allow ourselves to be free. And what are types of restraint that you and I can apply to our lives? Chemical restraint, physical restraint, emotional and mental and physical abuse. Our behaviors, we are our thoughts. Our behaviors and what we say and what we do is from the thoughts that you and I think, the thoughts that you and I allow ourselves to be seduced into believing. So we are responsible for everything that we think. We must break away from the group enslavement of thoughts and become a free thinker. We must be free of our own self-imposed enslavement. We must be free of our self-imposed enslavement. I was thinking about something. I was looking at hey Mike. I was thinking about something. Last year, if those of you who've been following my Facebook page, I was putting a little thought-provoking thing on called Truth. You know, just putting things out there for someone to grab or someone to think about or someone to consider. It's about them. I mean, we begin to look at ourselves and say, okay, I've been doing this for many years. Has it gotten me anywhere? No. That one form of self-imposed enslavement. I mentioned in my last broadcast, we all have a mindset of physical slavery, what the ancestors, what Black individuals have went through being enslaved, and we all can relate to that by reading up on history, and I will give you another insight. I'm taking you from the physical slavery of what they have gone through and experienced to show you that you and I are experiencing the same thing that the slave have gone through, but we are experiencing it mentally, emotionally, physically, and we need to be set free from that. We must break away from group thinking. I remember, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, Kanye West has said something that stirred up the mass on social media, but we need to break away from the group thinking and begin to think by ourselves. And hello, Mike. Long time no see, long time no hear from. And we think about the things that he said stirred up the community, and the social media did not like what he said. But prior to him saying that, I had again, you must be freed from this self-imposed slavery mentality that you put in yourself. I don't know why I keep losing the connection, but I'm going to continue. We need to begin to think about the things we say. So I came across this particular topic on the internet, the world grid and total enslavement of humanity. I'll say that again. This is a quote from something I saw on the internet. It said the world grid and the total enslavement of humanity. You can research that. And I thought about it. I said, wow. However, before you can enslave someone, you must first seduce them into believing what you want to say, what you want. And if they fall for the seduction, then they will begin to follow you. And that's how you can enslave people. They will willingly allow themselves to be captured mentally, emotionally, and physically to come on to your plantation of ideas and belief that will allow them to enslave you. Allow them to be enslaved. Excuse me. Without knowing it, they realize that they have allowed someone to deceive them, cause them to fall on their own self-informed plantation. Being seduced, think about it. When we allow ourselves to be seduced, it pulls us from an individual thinker onto the plantation of somebody else's thoughts. And then we allow ourselves to be seduced by whatever they're saying, because it may benefit us for whatever reason. It may benefit us, and we allow ourselves to be captured, enslaved on somebody else's plantation because we are falling for the Zeus. And then I thought about that, and I said, wow, that is true. Individuals have allowed themselves to be seduced into someone else's plantation. And for those who have not watched my previous video, I recommend you listen to see what I'm saying. What I'm getting to, you and I have two legs, and we have this, my little model, is a brain between our ears and in our head, in front of our eyes. We all have a brain that we can think with. We can't say someone made me do this or that. We can't use the past to justify actions. If we use the past to justify actions and it's causing us problems, we need to call into question, do I need to seek out help? We should be seeking out help, but then again, as I mentioned in an earlier message, being a black male, a lot of us do not want to tell another male that we have problems, issues, because we are told that we must be a man. And we must begin to look beyond that being a man thought and just simply share or seek out help. It's the reason why, and then as I brought this message from part 1, and now I think I'm in part 3, I can see a change is coming. Why? Because I see things that has been on the news prior to me bringing forth this broadcast. Since I started this broadcast, I've read and saw videos pertaining to we must begin to be an individual thinker and come off the plantation of group thought. I recall talking to a young lady who said, it's nice to talk to a man or talk to anyone that express what he feels, whether it's right or wrong, or whether that's his opinion. But I'm tired of hearing group thought where everybody is saying the same thing and everyone may be afraid to express how they feel. Then I saw another article on the internet. It said the 7 walls of your mental. Let me see. It say the seven walls of your mental. It's a video. The 7 walls of your mental. This video teaches you. Teaches you the art of mental freedom. It says 7 walls of mental. 7 walls of your prison. 7 enforcers of your mental prison. 7 weapons used by enforcers to keep you trapped in your mental prison. I say that again. 7 walls of your mental prison. 7 enforcers of your mental prison. 7 weapons used by enforcers to keep you trapped in your mental prison. And just by those 3 things I mentioned in my last message here on TV, I can say that a change is coming for those who want to change. You can't make anyone change. They must be willing to face that they have allowed themselves to be enslaved onto their own mental prison. And they must listen to the truth. And those of you who have graduated and those who have not graduated, you can understand this, what I'm going to share. We have elementary school, middle and high school, and junior high, and dropouts and graduates of colleges and high school and public school and private school are no different. They all experience some form of mental enslavement. And they too need to be free of what they have allowed to be upon themselves. Some people need to graduate from this self-imposed imprisonment. It's like when you go to school and the teacher discovers that you're weak in a certain area, she may recommend that you need to go back to school, go back to take this class over, and we call it a remedial training kind of thing, where you must educate yourself in this subject matter before you can pass. And that is well known throughout life. Even on your job, they send you back for remedial training, or let's say bringing a piece of equipment to help you understand this new piece of equipment. You need training. And if you, like me, I have not been in school since the day I graduated, and a lot of us, or some people are in school or in colleges right now, and they need to call into question, should they take a look at their life and focus on their own self-imposed mental prison that they allow themselves to be enslaved. They are their own slave master. They are their own whipping boy. They are whipping themselves with the lies that they cannot accomplish anything. You must change the way you're thinking. If you are hanging out around other individuals that mean you no harm, mean you no good, you must begin to break yourself free. You must begin to escape from that plantation of ideas and beliefs. It's just like the book I wrote, Escape from the Plantation You Need a Deliverer, because it benefits me. My slave master is deceiving me to say that if you steal my plantation ideas and belief, it will benefit you. But it really don't benefit you. It benefits the individual who is deceiving you. And being a black individual, when you don't stand with the masses, when you don't follow the fad, when you don't follow whatever subject or that day, and you begin to speak the truth, you're called an Oreo, or you're Uncle Tom, you're not one of us, you sell out, whatever. And all those are slanderous things to attack you verbally, because the person has become, they're whipping you with accusation, they're whipping you with lies, they're whipping you with innuendos, because they want you to come back and say, yes, master, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to think like that. Please share with me how I must think. And we are own oppressors. We are own victim. We are victimizing ourselves. We are beating ourselves up. We are hitting ourselves in the head. We are busting ourselves over the head with a ball of thoughts. We are own oppressor. We are putting ourselves in our own self-informed prison. And I had this thought to share: forgive. To forgive, to give up all claim or account. To forgive. When last have you forgave yourself for the things that you're doing? When last have you forgave yourself for hurting other people? When last have you gone to your children and say, forgive me, you know, my wife and I divorced, and, you know, it's not your problem. It's not nothing that you did. It's just something between she and I. When last you forgiven your father, your mother, brother, anyone? When last have you forgave them by simply saying, forgive me, without waiting, without expecting them to say, thank you, you're welcome, I understand? Our forgiveness toward others and self should be not about what's in it for me or what I can get and what I can receive. We must begin to learn to forgive. And to forgive another feeling angry or resentful for the offense of abuse. Have you ever forgave yourself? When last have you forgave yourself? If you have not forgiven yourself for something, then you are on your own self-imposed mental prison. Have you ever forgave your children, your wife, your husband, your employer, or a stranger? Have you ever forgiven them? Just simply forgive them, because that is another process of your freedom to have a mental slavery. Have you asked God, as you know him to be, to forgive you for the things that you are doing and ask him to help you and point you in the right direction? As I would say, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. They will have to drink. Those who watch and those who hear my video will have to realize and have to think about their own action and forgive. Also, have you forgave your father and your mother? Have you forgiven your father and mother for the things they have done and things they have said? Hello, my sister, Trisha. Have you forgiven your mother or your father and just simply say, forgive me for being a knucklehead, forgive me for being a hardhead, forgive me for being rebellious, forgive me for whatever that comes across your mind. And I can say that for myself, that it's a form. I had to learn that myself, that we must learn to ask God, we must go to other people, we must go to our loved ones, we must go to our family members and simply say, forgive me for the things I have done, forgive me for the things I said. And if this is reminding you that you need to go, and even if they're dead or alive, you can simply say, forgive me for what I have done. Because it's a process of being delivered from self-imposed. It's like having a pain, an emotional pain. Let's say it's in your pinky, your emotional root problem. But you want to deal with the thumb and the other two fingers instead of the pinky. The pinky is the problem, not the thumb. We must learn to forgive ourselves as God, as we know him, to forgive us. Forgive those who are close to us, our children, our sisters, our brothers, for the things we have done to them, regardless of that they will respond. If they never respond, then that's fine. We are responsible. We are to apologize when we recognize that we caused the problem. We are to apologize when we see that we are doing something, we had done something that caused them problem. We must learn how to communicate how we feel, how we felt about whatever. We must communicate effectively. Today now, people are using texting each other and putting happy face and little symbol to indicate how they feel. I don't know about you, but I prefer a conversation so I can hear the tone of your voice and recognize that you may have an issue. I can't do those verbal skills by reading a text. We must learn how to communicate. And I thought about myself when I was thinking, if I don't read any books, don't read any newspapers, and limit my vocabulary, limit my understanding, limit my reading, writing, and just reading a book, my communication will be less. I will only use certain words. I would not properly know how to properly express myself on paper, will not express myself verbally. I allow myself to be enslaved by my own self-thought, Sorry, feeling distressed, unhappy, upset, ashamed, and unpleasant. Those are form of enslavement. Sometimes it's not good to share. Sometimes it's not good to share your plans with other people. Think about it. Sometimes it's not good. If you are a free thinker, you want to make something, you want to make something out of your life. You want to pull yourself away from other friends that are holding you back, or not holding you back, because you can only hold yourself back. But if you're hanging out with friends that are doing the same thing over and over and over, and you want to make a change in your life, it's best not to share your goals and desire with them. Why? Because they will become your slave master by saying, oh, no, you don't need to do that. Remember, so-and-so tried that. I tried that and didn't work out for me, and yada, yada kind of stuff. And they may be envy. They may be jealous. They may be feel that you trying to better yourself to maybe one day come back and say, well, I finished school. I went back to school. I got my GED and you did not. We should be careful on who we share our ideas and goals with, because they will eventually whip us with lies and accusation to get us back, to keep us on their plantation. If you don't remember anything I say, always remember when you're talking to someone and they're telling you what they must do, they're telling you what they must do, they are simply sharing with you that they want you to be on their own plantation of ideas and beliefs, and that's not good. They want you to be on their plantation of ideas and beliefs. And I was thinking, I'm always thinking about something. Our own self-talk. We self-talk. What do you mean by that? I cannot do that. My race is holding me back. I'm cursed. No one in my family have never went to college. No one in my family have done any good thing for me to be proud of. I have no good role models in my family to follow. I have no good role models that I see around me that I can talk to. And that still causes problems. See something. When you are saying other races are holding you back, are they really holding you back? Hello, Donnell. Are you really holding you back? Are other races holding you back, or yourself is holding you back? You must begin to look at yourself. Think about it. I'm going to go back and forth between slavery. Slave master, slave owner come out for whatever reason and whip the slave for whatever reason. I say this again. There's nothing wrong with learning our history, but there's two reasons to learn it, or if someone share it with you, I say it that way. If you learn history and you see that you want to make a difference in your life and other people's life, that's fine. If you learn what happened in history about the slave to keep you in anger, resentful, not forgiving, that is wrong. Yes, we have slavery today. We always say it's the white man, but to be honest with you, we have black individuals that's in power. We have black individuals that it may be our friends, family members, or whatever, have the slave master mentality. A wife or a husband, do what I say and don't question it. You don't do it, some men will hit the woman, they whip the woman with their fists or with whatever. At the same time, they use words to slander, to hurt them, to hurt their feelings. And that may not be a good thing to say, but yes, we have black individuals who are in authority, who are not in authority, in the church, out of the church, our friends and our family members, at times may constantly whip us with lies and accusation to keep us on their own plantation, to keep us on their own plantation of ideas and beliefs. We must remove. They have become our taskmaster who are imposing harsh treatment on us. The truth is, because, let me see my glasses. What did I do with it? We must begin to look at ourselves and say, okay, I must begin to wake up. Because our desire, needs, and wants can cause pain and pleasure. Yes, we can go from, you and I can be our own taskmaster, imposing self-induced bondage, alcohol, drugs, and refusing to listen to other people. We are going to introduce, I say this in the last message, It's the public square. In the old days when someone was whipped in slavery, they're whipped, they're put on the public square. Imagine going into your local city and there's a square with a circle. We got parks in my city. Just pick a park, any park. And there's a whipping post there. And when the slaves misbehave and they were judged for whatever reason, they take the slave and they tie him up on the whipping post, and the slave master will whip the person and all close to death. You and I have also put ourselves on our own mental public square. How? When we behave in a certain way, in a certain manner, and what we say and the things that we do, other people can see our behavior and listen to what we are saying. So we have our own public square. We have become our own whipping boy. We have become our own slave master. We are whipping ourselves with accusation, whipping ourselves with behaviors, and everybody can see and say, wow, look at John, look at Sam, look at so-and-so. They're whipping, they don't say it like I'm saying it. They see the behavior that's not good. They see the behavior that's going in a direction that can be hurtful for that individual, and they have talked to that individual before, and they just have a knucklehead. They don't want to listen. And sometimes, sad to say, some individuals have to experience the hard times before they realize that they must be free and become a free thinker and quit blaming others. And that is, every one of us have our own public square. Wherever you are now, you have your own public square. Begin to look at whatever you're doing and whatever you're saying as your public square. As I mentioned earlier in the message, there are certain things that the slaves went through. And I'm going to show you a mental, I'm going to take you to another level. I want you to think beyond the physical and begin to think, with your mind and say, I am doing that. And so I'm going to apply to us. Shackling. We know the slaves have been shackled. We are at times have self-talk ourselves to put a mental shackle on ourselves. Rejecting the lies and refusing to try is another form of shackling ourselves to our own self public square. Slave was branded with certain irons to indicate who they belong to. We brand ourselves within our minds by the thing we say, woe is me, or because of the other person, I'm nobody, I can never accomplish anything. My mom, my father, my brother, my so-and-so. We begin to brand ourselves with words and thoughts that we think. And the brutal whipping that the slave constantly endured night after night, day after day, we are constantly accusing ourselves in the same way, blaming and accusing ourselves over and over and over. We are constantly whipping ourselves over and over. And it's another thing that the slave experienced was rubbing pepper and salt on rubbing pepper, salt, or other hard substance on wounds. We are doing the same thing. We are blaming others, and we blaming ourselves. We won't let go. We have hate, we have anger, not forgiving. We are putting salt on a wound. The things that we say to our loved one, we're putting a salt. They say, forgive me. I forgive you. You apologize. I apologize. I say, forgive me for my sins. Forgive me for the things I've done in the past. And you say, oh, I accept your apology, but you still beat me over my head and say, well, I want more from you. I want you to show me more and more and more. But that doesn't make sense, because if I show you more, then what if it's not good enough? You're going to demand more and more. We have become our own slave masters toward our own family members, toward our own self, demanding more, brutally whipping and branding and shackling each other over and over and over. Torture instrument was used. Various torture instrument was used that make your skin crawl from the ones I've seen so far. What are some torture instruments that people are using today in their lives? Self-abuse, verbal, physically. They may be cutting us. Alcohol abuse, illegal drug abuse, gambling, illicit sexual behavior, dealing in illegal drugs, selling drugs, any drugs, alcohol, behavior that enslave. All these things have become their own. Individual have decided, through whatever reason, put themselves in their own public square. Nothing against alcohol. You say alcoholic, a drug user, a homosexual, or someone transgender, or whatever you can think of that you see on TV or in the public square, that individual have selected, not knowingly, or maybe willingly, or maybe they decide to, they have allowed themselves to experience their own self-abuse torturing. How? Because you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink. They must desire to change. They must desire to say, I want help. I want to be free from those things that cause me problems, because I'm tired of my friends and my family members to see me this way. I'm on my own public square. And we know there were a lot of sexual assaults in the days of slavery. You know, we are raping ourselves also. We are blaming ourselves. We believe that we cannot deceive. Rape is to take something, to have sex with a woman or have sex with a man, whatever way you want to identify it to be. But rape is taking something away from somebody. We can rape ourselves with the words that we say. Oh, you never amount to nothing. Take away. I'm no good. I'm take away. I drop out of school. I'm no good. We're raping ourselves with the thoughts and the words that we are allowing ourselves to believe. Mutilation, slave experience a form of mutilation, through cuts, through punishment. We are doing the same thing. Mental, emotional mutilation, damaging oneself within, allowing lies to cut away what we know to be truth. We, no matter where we are in our life, we can experience our own self-mutilation with the thoughts that we are saying and the things that we are doing, and we allowing the lies, the knives of lies, to cut us away from the truth. Words that we hear from our friends and family members can be knives to whomever, and they can cause damage, pain to us, but give pleasure to the one that have the knives in their hand, the thought of knives in their hand. I'm saying the knives can be a thought, and they're using it so you never amount to nothing, just like your dad. You won't be nothing. You a girl, you whatever they can think. They are mutilating you, family members and friends that don't want you to succeed, that are against you. They are opposing you, and they don't want to help you. Think about it. For some family members have a close-knit family. You know, they do things together, mother, father, brother, and a lot of us have single mothers and have never experienced that close-knit family relationship where they spend time with each other on the weekend, they have parties, they have get-together, they have communication, they help each other with issues. And when you're from a single parent, or you're a single mother, or a single father, or you live in the project, or you live in a certain lifestyle, you don't have that close-knit relationship. Even young people go to join gang as a form of a family for protection and whatever. It's form of manipulation. Then we have the amputation, where some limbs or arms and feet are cut off by the slave owner. You and I are cutting ourselves off from the truth, allowing the spread of gangrene. When someone have the gangrene, this is the germ or disease or a virus or some form of virus, when we are cutting, amputation, they cut off the legs, the feet, and hand of the slave. You and I, at times through our lives, maybe I'm reminding you right now, we cut ourselves off from other people. We cut ourselves away from the truth. Man, I'm not even going there. I'm not even going to deal with that person. I don't even want to hear what they have to say. We cut ourselves off from the truth. We refuse to accept the truth. We accept the lie, and that lie begins to spread to cause us problems. And when it becomes too painful, then we may run to the doctor of truth to say, help me, because I'm tired of experiencing this pain that I allow myself. Then we have the physical lynching in slavery days, where people, hello, Connie. We have slavery day where people are experiencing lynching. You and I are lynching ourselves. And how? We deny self the truth. Self-punishment, accepting lies that we are slowly thinking. We are lynching ourselves putting a stop to our existence and our thinking, refusing to believe that you are your own hangman. You are, we can picture slavery day. Let me say it this way. Slavery day, they put the person on a whatever box or tree, whatever, and they pull the rope, and the person kept fall off and kept kicking and kicking, and eventually he died. That is a natural form of hanging, lynching. You and I, whether we believe it or not, just think about it. Are you self-lynching yourself by the thought that you're thinking, by the things that you're saying, what you are doing? Are you lynching yourself on your own public square in your home? Are you lynching yourself by your behavior? Are you choking yourself off from the truth? Think about it. If you think about the slave, when you go back and if you do your own homework and look at what the slaves experienced back in the day, you can apply it to your life right now and say, wait a minute, I am lynching myself away from the truth. I am separating myself. I have amputated myself away from the truth. And we are denying ourselves to breathe. When you lynch someone and you choke them, they can't breathe. When we self-lynch ourselves, we deny ourselves to breathe the truth. Breathe in the truth and exhale the lie. When we self-impose, lynch ourselves, we will eventually die slowly because of lack of the breath of air of the truth. I say it that way. Denying the breath of truth to flow in you to free you from your choice of rope. I call it rope of thoughts. It is someone else's fault. And then we have the burning. We know slaves was burned back in the day. We need to begin to burn the bridges that leads people. We need to stop burning bridges that will lead people to help us. We must burn those bridges that's causing us our problems. When we burning bridges on the pathway of truth, deny us a self-pathway. Deny ourselves a pathway. Self-hatred, anger, revengeful, pride, and being stubborn, those bridges must be burned. It must be burned. I'm going to go back to sexual assault. There must, in the form of a sexual, I'm sorry, let me see. In the form of a sexual assault, slaves went through sexual assault. When the officer comes to the house to respond to a call, he's told that he's investigating a sexual assault. He look around for the physical evidence of the female and male, is there been a physical rape and whatever. But there's another form of sexual assault. You are, let's say, screwing with yourself in your mind. You are actually thinking all these thoughts in your mind is no good for yourself, no good to you. You are sexually assaulting yourself. You are sexually assaulting yourself all the time from the thought that you are thinking. We allow ungodly thoughts. We allow ungodly thoughts to penetrate our mind. I call it a womb because it's there. Our mind can be a womb where things are birthed. The seed is planted. The sperm of thought is planted in our mind. We allow it to take form. It begins to manifest in our behavior and things that we do. So we are raping ourselves. We are having a sexual relationship with our thought in our mind of a womb, denying ourselves to, we using the rope to strangle ourselves. You can say maybe it's suicide. I didn't have this. This just came to me. Maybe it's I'm sure some slave committed suicide. I'm sure of that. You and I, if we're not careful, we can be committing self-suicide in our mind by the things that we're thinking. When we are denying ourselves freedom, when we denying ourselves when we stop and we escape from the plantation of other people, belief and ideas, and come on our own plantation of ideas and belief, we're going to face other people's problems. We must begin to remember that we are constantly attacking ourselves. Let me go back. We allow ungodly thoughts to penetrate our womb of a mind, accepting all types of ungodly thoughts seed, giving birth to ungodly behavior. Before you and I do anything, before you and I say anything, it must come in the form of a seed in a thought. We think of the idea, we think of what we want to do, we think about it in our mind, we play it out in our mind like a movie script. We see ourselves doing it, receiving the benefit from it. The only thing take place, our hands, our mouths, and our feet help us bring that to pass. We are our thoughts. My thoughts are not your thought. You have your own thoughts. No one can make you do anything. The time has come that you must say that you need to be free. And I go by saying, let's see, giving birth to ungodly behavior that are constantly enslaving us. We need to experience an abortion of self. We need to experience our own self-abortion, killing the thought that has caused us pain and preventing us our own freedom. We must kill, we must commit our own self-abortion of thoughts that's causing us problems, that has caused us problems. We must begin to call into question. As I start off with the message, at the beginning of the message, I said, prior to starting this series, I had been saying this all last year, if you follow my posts and went to my YouTube channel. Then the incident, and then prior to Kanye West say what he said, I said it in one of my messages, and then I saw it came to pass, excuse me. And then I opened up by sharing today, this morning, when I turned on when I watched the news and went on the internet, I saw this title, "The World Grid and the Total Enslavement of Humanity." Story on the news, on the internet, "The World Grid and the Total Enslavement of Humanity." And then I saw another thing that popped up. Let's see if I got it. That title was "The 7 Walls of Your Mental." This is a video. "The 7 Walls of Your Mental." It's a video. It teaches you the art of mental freedom. Then it goes, the subtitle, "7 Walls of Your Mental Prison, 7 Enforcers of Your Mental Prison, 7 Weapons Used by Your Enforcers to keep you on your mental prison." And why did I bring that up again? Because in one of my things, I say, a change is coming. This change is coming for those who want to be free from group thought. A change is coming for those who take advantage of the wind that's blowing. When you take advantage of the change, it's much easier to flow with the change. When you resist the change, when you resist to do the right thing, when you resist, when you refuse to fight, when you refuse to do the right thing, then you'll change. You will not gravitate to the change that's coming. Think about it. You and I, one time or another, may have done and said things that we wish we did not do. But to hold on to it is our own self-imposed mental prison that is slaving us. A wind has begun. If you watch the news and read social media, a wind is blowing. The question that I have for you, are you ready to be blown in the wind, to be set free of your self-imposed mental enslavement? If you don't think that you are being enslaved, if you don't think or perceive that you are experiencing some form of enslavement within your life, in your relationship, on your job, then you need to begin to look at the choices that you made, the choice you have made. We must begin to call into question everything that we do, because what if we hear the truth today? Tomorrow is not promised to us. What if we hear the truth that can set us free from whatever? And that is the only time we're going to hear that truth. And we refuse to accept the truth and do as we want because of pain, We don't want to experience the pain. We don't want to put a problem. When we begin to justify our behavior, when we begin to justify not doing the right thing, when we begin to justify whatever we can think of, we have put ourselves on our own mental plantation of belief. We have become our own whipping boy. We're whipping ourselves with lies and accusation and justifying that it's okay for me to experience this pain. The time has come that we must quit blaming others and begin to call into question our own behavior and our own action. When one person make a difference, I always say this, and I always wonder. I'm quite sure back in slavery days, they did experience a lot of pain and suffering. That's undeniable. But I'm quite sure they heard positive influence message that one day they will be free. One day they will be free. And I'm quite sure if they was hearing negative, woe is me all the time, they'll be more depressed. We must begin as individuals to begin to say, when I wake up Monday morning, I want to hear something positive that someone has done for others. I want to do something positive in other people's lives. I don't have to be asked. If I'm in a position to help them mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially, I'm just going to help them. And don't worry about what I get in return. We must quit being our own oppressor. We must quit being our own prisoner. We must quit being our own slave master. We must quit being our own whipping boy. And all this stuff is taking place in our mind. We're whipping ourselves constantly, whether we're aware of it or not. It may come in a seduction. You may don't see it if it appears what you think, feel. Begin to look at it from this perspective. What you think, feel, want, and believe, and how it benefits you, blinds you, deceive you into thinking that everything is okay. It's the other person's fault. When you blame other people for your lack of trying, when you blame other people for your lack of receiving, you're going to get what you sow. You are your thoughts. You are an individual. You must begin from this day forward to say, you know what? I need to be freed from my own self-imposed mental enslavement. Quit giving yourself time served. Go out into the public square, behave a certain way, slip up and fall and run back on the plantation of your own belief, and then blame someone else behind the wall that you put up. So those of you who have joined me and those of you who listen, it's a pleasure to be before you to share this insight as pertains to physical slavery and how it intertwined with our own lives. And it's my hope that you take it and see, wow, I need to hear that, or share it with other people. If you like what you heard, I recommend that you subscribe. You can go to my channel, He's Still Speaking Out, Listen.org, YouTube channel. And the other one, The Hidden Tears of Black Male, my YouTube channel. I'll upload these particular videos on my YouTube channel, because when you do a live video on Facebook, the video will drop down and drop down and drop down. And then if someone go on your Facebook page, they will not see your video unless they're strolled. And I just had to stop. Quit hiding behind your self-imposed mirror, your self-imposed wall. You know you have a problem. You know you have an issue. So you hide behind your own wall that you have erected up that nobody can see you. Only you can see, only you are experiencing what you're going through. But other people don't see that. We, including myself, we can put up our own self-imposed, oh, I'm so good, I'm so happy, I feel good, everything's working out fine for me. But deep down behind closed doors, we are smoking marijuana, we may be drinking alcohol, we may be doing things that we should not do to ease the pain. And it may ease the pain for us, a little bit, but then we want more and more and more and more. That is our own prison wall that we have set up. And we need to begin to ask for help. And hopefully, I will say my message or somebody else's message may be tossed across your wall. Picture a prison picture a prison, for example. Somebody may walk up to the prison wall and throw something over the fence to someone That is illegal. You and I can have our own enslavement wall put up. We have this image where everything is so good with me, and then someone ends up killing themselves. We can have this persona about ourselves to deceive others, our friends and family members, thinking everything is okay, and it's a wall. This message and the series of messages that I'm going to share can be the rock or the piece of paper that I'm tossing over the fence for you to, I'm tossing this piece of paper, I'm tossing these truths across the fence of your wall to say, you know what, I need to hear this. I'm always thinking about this. I say, I was asked, why do you do this? You're not getting paid. I say, I have to do it because it's my call to do it. In life, some individuals love to be married, have children, go to work, do the things a family would do, and they're happy with it. But then some of us out there begin to ask, when we get older, my life should have a purpose. My life should have a purpose. What am I doing for myself? Am I doing a self-assessment on me? Am I evaluating the things I do and say? If I'm truthful and admit to myself, forgive those who have hurt me, regardless of what they're doing, forgive my children, my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, even if they're passed, died, and not with us, forgive them, not blame, forgive your own behavior, forgive your mother, forgive your father, forgive your brother, forgive anyone that's close to you. That is your step process of being freed from your own self-mental. If you have a problem, this is the kicker, you're might accept it. If you have a problem right now in your life, don't look at the other person or the situation. Ask yourself and be honest. Is what you experiencing and going through is your fault because you refuse to accept the truth, you refuse to forgive, you refuse whatever. If you say yes, then you have begin to knock down the wall that you have erected to hide yourself. As I say again, to me, it is nice to wake up in the morning. It is nice to hear the voices out there in the world that speaking something positive. And being a black male or a black female, it can go to any race, but I'm speaking generally to us. When we begin to speak the truth, we have become an enemy of our own race. We have escaped the plantation of how blacks should behave. This woman told me before, we are our own worst enemy. We are our own worst. We are our own worst oppressor. The time has come. The change has begun. Are you ready to grab hold? And if you're worried about what other person is going to think, how it may affect you, then you're going to remain on your self-imposed plantation. You're going to be whipped. And if this message reveals to you why you're being whipped, then grab hold to the whip of your thoughts and say, no more. You're not going to whip me anymore. You're not going to whip yourself anymore that you lack this. You're stupid, you're ignorant, you can't succeed, or whatever reason because of the color of your skin. You're not going to whip yourself that it's another race problem, another race fault. You're going to make a difference in your life. And when you make a difference in your life, other people will begin, some will going to begin to follow you, and some going to be your worst enemy. Even in your own household, you're going to have people going to say, you're not one of us anymore. Begin to break yourself free from your self-imposed mental plantation. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy what you heard. And I will post when I be back on because I have a job, and I think I'm on 3 to 11. And I won't, if I'm off Sunday, and I'll be back Sunday. If I'm not on Sunday, I'll just give another date when I'm off, because my schedule changes month to month, and I'll just give a date when I'll be on. So thank you very much for joining me. It's a pleasure. If you have any comments, you can comment at the end of the message, or you can comment at this time. If you have any questions, I'll take a few moments and ask your question. If you do not have a question, it's a pleasure to be before you, and hopefully you join and tell others about what you heard. because they need to hear. Allow other people. Allow other people to think for themselves. Don't say, I want to tell. I should not tell so and so about what I heard, because they're going to say, you listen to that. You experienced that. Let them think for themselves. Don't ask. It's like, I'm going to go ask you a question. So you ask the question to yourself. You give yourself the answer as though you talk to the person. And then when you talk to the person, you start acting in a way that they have treated you. That's not good. Begin to call into question from this day forward everything that you do. Are you imposing yourself into your own self-imposed mental plantation? Thank you. It's a pleasure to be before you.